boys and girls, Mrs. Filiatro. Today, or this week, we're going to read some books about fall. And the first one I'm going to read to you is just called Fall. And you can tell from the cover, it's a real picture. So that's going to be a clue to you that it's a nonfiction book. It's a true book and it has facts in it about fall. Okay? So this is called Fall and it is written by Cynthia Amoroso and Robert B. Noyad. Okay. Whoops. Fall is here. Fall is one of the 4 seasons. Another name for this season is autumn. Fall comes after summer and before winter. Fall is the 4th season of the year. In the fall, the sun sets earlier than it did in the summer. The air is warm during the day and cool at night. That's how it is right now. The sun sets over a farm on a fall evening. The leaves on many trees change color. The leaves turn red, orange, yellow, and brown. Soon the leaves will drop from the trees. It says the trees around this lake are turning many colors. So beautiful. Farmers planted seeds in the spring. In the fall, their crops are ready to harvest. A farmer harvests his crop. Many plants are done growing in the fall. The vegetables in the garden are ready to pick. The pumpkins have grown large and are bright orange. Pumpkins are ready to pick in the fall. That is a lot of pumpkins. Apples are also ready in the fall. They are juicy and colorful. People pick the apples in the orchards. These apples are ready to be picked from the trees. Fall is a busy time for many animals. They are getting ready for winter. Squirrels gather food to save for winter. A squirrel stores nuts in the fall. Many birds are in the sky in the fall. They are flying south for the winter. Some groups of birds make the shape of a letter V as they fly. You see that? Many of the birds fly south in the fall. Leaves cover the ground. Some people rake the leaves into piles. Many children love to jump in the leaves. This is a little girl jumping in a pile of leaves. The trees are brightly colored in the fall. The air is crisp. Enjoy the cool weather. It says 2 sisters play outside in the leaves. The end. So, just a little nonfiction book about fall to get you thinking about it. And the next book we're going to read is a storybook. It's called Sophie's Squash. And a squash is a very fallish vegetable. And this book is written by Pat Zietlow Miller and Ann Wilsdorf. And this is Sophie. This is her squash. It's her friend, and her friend's name is Bernice. So let's see what happens with Sophie's squash. One bright fall day, Sophie chose a squash at the farmer's market. Her parents planned to serve it for supper, but Sophie had other ideas. It was just the right size to hold in her arms, just the right size to bounce on her knee, just the right size to love. "I'm glad we met," Sophie whispered. "Good friends are hard to find." At home, Sophie used markers to give her squash a face. Then she wrapped it in a blanket and rocked it to sleep. When it was time to make supper, Sophie's mother looked at the squash. She looked at Sophie. "I'll call her Bernice," Sophie said. "I'll call for pizza," said her mother. After that, Bernice went everywhere with Sophie. To story time at the library, to visit other squash at the farmer's market, to practice somersaults by the garden. That looks fun. Every night, Sophie gave Bernice a bottle, a hug, and a kiss. "Well, we did hope she'd love vegetables," Sophie's mother told her father. "Shh," Sophie said. "Bernice is sleeping." "Sweet pea," Sophie's mother said one morning as they made blueberry waffles. "Bernice is a squash, not a friend. If we don't eat her soon, she'll get mushy and gross. Let's bake her with marshmallows. Won't that taste yummy?" "Don't listen, Bernice," Sophie cried. That afternoon, Sophie's father took her shopping. "Sugar beet," he said. "Bernice is a squash. Why don't you pick a nice toy to play with instead?" But the trucks were too hard and the dolls were too soft. Sophie clutched Bernice tightly. "No thanks," she said. "I have everything I need." After supper, Sophie's parents called a family meeting. Bernice napped in Sophie's lap. "Why don't we donate Bernice to the food pantry before she rots?" her father suggested. Sophie shook her head. "Bernice will last forever." Bernice seems a little blotchy, said Sophie's dad on the way to the library one day. She looks perfect to me, Sophie replied. At story time, some kids pointed and stared. What's that spotty thing? A boy asked. Her name's Bernice, and she's a squash, Sophie said, with freckles. Maybe Bernice should stay home next time, Sophie's mom suggested. Why? Sophie asked. She wasn't the one being mean. Still, as winter neared, Sophie noticed changes. Bernice seemed softer, and her somersaults lacked their usual style. Visiting friends will cheer you up, Sophie said. At the farmer's market, squash were everywhere, firm, shiny squash. What keeps a squash healthy? Sophie asked the farmer. It's simple, really, he said. Fresh air, good clean dirt, and a little love. Well, Sophie thought, I have all that. At home, Sophie cleared leaves from Bernice's favorite spot. She made a bed of soft soil, tucked Bernice in, and kissed her goodnight. Get better soon, she whispered. That night, while Sophie slept, the wind whistled and tiny snowflakes fell. When she awoke, the world was covered in white. Do you think Bernice is cold out there? Sophie asked her mother. I'm sure she's warm and cozy under her snow blanket, her mother replied. Sophie gazed out the window all morning. She was still there in the afternoon when her father came home with a surprise. You need a new friend, he said. Meet Ace. This is Ace. Ace was nice but boring. He just swam around and around in his bowl. But during the long winter, Sophie discovered that Ace was a superb silent reader who did fabulous flip turns. And he always listened politely when she talked about Bernice. She says Bernice was great at keeping secrets. When the snow finally melted, Sophie rushed to the garden. The only thing there was a small green sprout. It looked strangely familiar. Bernice, Sophie said, how was your winter? After that, Sophie, Ace, and Bernice ate lunch together every day. One bright summer morning, Sophie somersaulted across her yard and landed by her garden and stared in disbelief. Bernice had grown 2 tiny squash. Wow, Sophie told them, you look just like your mom. Soon, Bonnie and Baxter were just the right size for Sophie to hold in her arms and bounce on her knee. Just the right size to love. The end. Hope you guys like Sophie Squash. Miss you. See you soon. Bye.